For those of you who may not be aware, Mutahar has recently been exposed for having a very embarrassing past, constantly lying about the job titles that he's held, his education, what his occupations were, and even posturing and trying to make himself this figure of authority in his YouTube videos. It's a big deal because when you're lied to for over 10 years about what your favorite YouTuber does and how capable they actually are, of course it's going to be a slap in the face, especially when these individuals are involved in some of the largest takedowns in YouTube. We have seen him take down Mama Max, then Gerard the Completionist, Keffels, or between that Keffels, but that's besides the point. He just read Kiwi Farms for that. Is he really just gonna talk about AI verification for like these couple of minutes and not actually address any of the legitimate concerns? I don't know like why he thought this was a good idea, but if he's seriously just uploading a video as if nothing happened and then only talks about it a little bit into the video, obscuring his response with obviously what's supposed to be a video on a different topic, that's incredibly backhanded. That's incredibly cowardly. That alone is a huge topic to discuss because in the past, Mutahar has criticized people for their terrible apologies, for their terrible responses. So if he really just did this to try to like hide his response 3 minutes into a video that is largely off topic to what's been going on, absolute pathetic, cowardly move that just shows that Mutahar is undeniably a hypocrite at every twist and turn.
Saying that starting August 13, 2025, so actually not that much time left, they'll be rolling out an age estimation model to determine if a US user is under the age of 18. YouTube account.
It's not smart, Chronic. It's pathetic. It's cowardly. He's criticized people for similar in the past. Remember what he said about being an editor. As a video editor, this is exactly the type of editing that I would do if I were trying to paint a narrative. Nothing. Not even in the beginning of the video. Not even, dude, it's been a wild week. Dude, this is like he's doing it on purpose. It's so obvious he's doing it on purpose too. It's been a wild week, obviously referencing that, like, you know, all of the censorship changes that have been going on in the past 2 weeks with, like, you know, Visa, MasterCard, and everybody implementing, like, you know, ID checks to make sure that child safety is a huge consideration. Like he knows what he's doing. There's layers to this. There's layers to this. I can't quite describe it without sounding like a schizophrenic. But come on. He knew what he was doing.
Our age estimation model.
And then when he's called out for not addressing, he has plausible deniability to say, "Oh, I did address it. It's in the first 30% of my video. You should be addressing these things."
18, you'll be notified. And if you believe it's incorrect, you have the option then to provide your ID, selfie, or a credit card. So yes, there is going to be age estimation coming, at least in the United States. And I can only imagine this will hit the entire world. Now, YouTube's pretty much engineered, I would say, in their mind, it seems a pretty foolproof way of isolating kiddies from adults. Now, I use the E word over there, and I want to just start talking a little bit. I know there's been some drama, and I want to kind
of... Here we go. He finally gets into it. I know there's been some drama. Please tell me that your response is going to be coming clean and coming forward with all your dishonesty, and you don't try to big dick it and try to pretend like nothing's ever happened without showing any sort of evidence for it, because I feel like that's exactly what he's going to do.
Address things here really quickly.
Keep in mind, this video was uploaded 15 minutes ago. There's no way that I could have pre-watched it. As soon as I found out that this went live, I went live too.
So obviously, I have been calling myself a engineer, in some cases a programmer, a cybersecurity engineer, whatever you can call it.
Yes.
And, you know, I apparently have also been a dropout, which I don't hide. Now, obviously, me being a dropout, I don't have a degree, so I'm not a certified or licensed engineer.
Okay, so he's not a certified anything.
Now, I made a lot of videos in the past where I've taught you guys about computer safety, cybersecurity, a lot of this stuff, and I think that content stands up on its own. And I believe...
Except it kind of doesn't, because apparently, according to a lot of, like, tech experts that have come forward, and some people that are more privy to, like, technology, that actually do projects, and I can be corrected by anybody who knows a lot more than technology than I or Mutahar do. Apparently, like, this coverage that he does is very surface level. It's not actually, like, insane amounts of work or technological know-how, for lack of better words. He's gonna say, "I've taught you guys how to do these things. Isn't that good enough? Is that not enough to satisfy what my channel is all about?" Is essentially what he's gonna do. He's gonna try to say, "Yeah, sure, I may have said all these things, but I still provided exactly what I was supposed to provide, what I wanted to provide you, rather than mislead you." But the only reason anybody watched this stuff in the first place, again, which he's not going to acknowledge, is the fact that people believe that he was an engineer, that he was an expert, but he wasn't. And that's the problem. He's not going to acknowledge that at all. Nobody would have ever watched any of these videos where he teaches you how to be safe on the internet, or teaches you about technology, or teaches you about command prompts in Minecraft or whatever. Nobody would have ever acknowledged any of this if it wasn't for the fact that he feigned this level of expertise for 10 years. It's not over.
It actually can be used, and people have learned from it, and I think that's great. Now, if you feel offended, if you feel wronged that I called myself an engineer while not being a degree-holding engineer, then for that, I do apologize.
And and he has to, he neglects to mention. Look, he's apologizing, but he's neglecting, and maybe I'm pause-ending. He's apologizing, but he also has to say, I apologize for misleading you guys into, this false sense of security, thinking that you could trust me for credentials that I never had.
And I will denigrate myself to, I guess, programmer or a fat Indian guy that knows a bit about computers.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
That's what I'll leave it at. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Now, again, if you want to stick around, awesome. If you still feel wronged and this does not suffice for you, then I don't really give a fuck. Simple as that.
All right, fair enough.
Now, again, that being said...
So he doesn't care. So essentially, he does not care that he misled a bunch of people into believing that he has a lot higher of an authority than he actually has. And that's his response. I mean, as far as responses go, fair play. I really don't know what else I was expecting. I can't really pretend to, or even moral grandstand about him being better, or him, making a better response. He was blunt and to the point about it. He could have been a little bit more he could have been a little bit self-denigrating, to utilize the word that he used, and even said that he misled people and that he feels ashamed for misleading people. He didn't do that. Obviously, most people aren't going to tear at their own ego because they have a full sense of pride. Of course they won't, because who would? Right? Most people are too proud, way too egotistical to actually do that. So I understand why he would just leave it at the bare minimum. He can save a little bit of his reputation while also being somewhat honest about misleading people without outright saying that, yes, I misled all of you for 10 years. So, I mean, fuck. What else do you have? What else do you want? He admitted to lying to you. He admitted to misleading people at the bare minimum. He didn't utilize those words specifically, but, at least he did.
Anything else comes out of this,
strategically perfect response. There's just enough ambiguity here for him to be like, I did admit to not being an engineer. Oh, I did mislead people. I apologize for misleading people. Yeah, it's actually strategically a perfect response.
There be some legal stuff,
and he hides it, within a 32-minute video.
If anything else comes out of this, whether there be some legal stuff, then I'll just let lawyers handle it, and we'll call it at that.
Also, at this point of Mutahar's response, where he says maybe there will be legal action, maybe there will be lawyers, somebody brought to my attention that this can be interpreted in two ways. Either Mutahar is aware of legal ramifications, or he plans to pursue legal ramifications for potentially being defamed. If so, then, again, it only shows that Mutahar is pretty cowardly. However, if he is actually being actively defamed, then I see no reason why he shouldn't be doing this. I just wanted to add a little bit more clarity, a little bit more transparency, to see what you guys want to make of this.
But that being said...
Okay, so he's aware that he might actually be... So he's aware that there might actually be, some legal ramifications for lying about being an engineer without actually holding any certifications, as Nicandros laid out in his video. All right. And by the way, a point that a lot of people miss in Nicandros' video that I do want to point out, which I think is incredibly clever and well executed, is that Nicandros brought up that point not to, get him in legal trouble or to make you pause and think, did Mutahar just break the law? No. He made that point to showcase that if Mutahar actually was a legitimate engineer, as he claimed, he wouldn't be throwing around the label so, fleetingly, so consistently, because if he was an engineer, he'd know that throwing around that label without being one would make him subject to potential charges or fees or fines or whatever. But because he wasn't an engineer, he never knew of this responsibility to actually not utilize essentially the label to mislead people.
I want to move forward, and that's pretty much the engineered response that I had to give. That being said, let's look even further into what's going on the other side of the world. So
Great, amazing. Okay, so that's the response from Mutahar. I don't know what else I was expecting. He kind of did come clean, just not in the way that I would have wanted him to. It's very unfortunate that, you know, he didn't essentially, like, take it on the chin and denigrate even more. But again, as QQ said, perfectly crafted response. It's in line with a PR. I don't really know what more you could expect. Is it pathetic? Is it cowardly at the end of the day? Yes. Are the people that are going to be betrayed stop watching him? Probably not. A lot of people typically return to their creators once they handle a drama well. Or they return eventually anyways because they need somebody to entertain them and they can't really substitute their favorite creator. And the people who are here non-caring because they're perfectly fine being lied to, then they're going to stay anyways. So, at the end of the day, what happened? Mutahar gets to get away with being a fraudulent liar for 10 years, which I think is disgusting, but I mean, what can you do? I wanted complete honesty, but I expected this. Yes, this is half honesty. This is half transparency. It's the best he can do. It is unironically the absolute best he can do. So, now that we're done with that, there is this from 2 days ago that I want to get into. Extreme Elixir is apparently Mutahar's close friend, Kyle, and this is what he said in response to this. How will Muta respond? My guess he's going to make a video addressing only the surface level criticisms and downplaying the more damning points, which is exactly what he did. This person called it out right on the money. His career being bolstered by his supposed tech expertise and money he got shilling for intel based on his fake credentials and experience. Yes, it's incredibly scummy, and it's incredibly pathetic and cowardly that he didn't address any of these misleading, postures that he did throughout the years. He's going to play off years of pathological lying as being misinformed, I bet. Well, not quite. This guy got it on the money. This guy got it on the money. He didn't play it as being misinformed. He literally just said that, yeah, I misled you. He just didn't do it in, like, that wording, so to speak. I bet he doesn't respond at all because the whole conversation is fucking stupid, what Kyle said. Others on the internet have been damned for way worse. Yes, but that doesn't mean that people should be allowed to, like, get away with lying to you. The silence from his online presence is deafening. His entire online persona has been bolstered by fraudulent credentials. Absolutely true. He's called out others for far lesser lies than this. Absolutely true. What about the conversation is stupid? No. Full stop. You claim his credentials are fraudulent. By the way, keep in mind his response. This is Mutahar's friend. Let's recall his response. And far as I'm aware, from my conversation with him, he won't respond to these dumb as fuck allegations. The term engineer is used fairly loosely and colloquially in the tech industry. It literally doesn't pay to address the shit because the people accusing him will not even change their mind regardless of proof presented. This guy is like feigning that Mutahar actually has a way to come out of these allegations and prove them wrong. But even within his response, he can't. He outright says that no, he says he will denigrate himself because he is a dropout and because he doesn't have credentials. So this guy, this Kyle guy, which is a close friend of Mutahar, by the way, is also lying out of his ass here. He's full of fucking shit. And I find that incredibly pathetic. Either Mutahar lied to his best friends, right, as well, which would be par for the course given Mutahar's, behavior that has been, like, resurfaced. Or he has a group of yes men around him that do nothing but enable him. And if that's the case, I don't think Mutahar would change anytime soon, which I find incredibly pathetic and gross. And it only serves the criticism that I made that the people around him that will remain by his side are only going to be an echo chamber. And he won't actually grow from anything. It literally doesn't pay to address the shit because the people accusing him will not change their mind regardless of proof presented. Well, he doesn't even have proof. And there's no reason for anybody to change their mind considering he just came forward and admitted it. It is a lynch mob whose sole interest is in destroying someone they dislike. Wrong. I've already addressed why this is wrong multiple times. As an engineer, I gotta play with all the latest tech, paraphrasing from Muta's Intel ad. No job had Muta interacting with the latest processors and other such tech. This one is a blatant lie that Muta told for a paycheck from Intel. I'll never understand how some people are okay with being lied to repeatedly for years. It's pathetic. It's gross. How much does Mutahar pay you for dick writing? He doesn't need to pay me because we sit in a Discord call at night laughing at how sad your life must be to go on witch hunts like this. Even though Mutahar has gone on witch hunts for people that he has accused of having little to no credibility. So it's incredibly ironic that you would sit behind, if this is true, sit behind the screen laughing at people, criticizing you, and holding you to the own standards and principles that you have set for the last 5 years. Please, senpai, teach us to be simps like you. Nah, dude, it's called being his friend, and frankly, he doesn't need to do Okay, look, even if you are somebody's friend, even if you were my friend, a close friend of mine, I would expect you to call me out for my terrible behavior. I would expect you to call me out for being a fucking loser, fraud, liar, okay? That would be the bare minimum expectation I would have of a good friend, to keep me in check and make sure that my head is screwed on straight. It's fucking stupid for people like you who will continue to watch him even if he killed a family of 5 and drunk driving. Well, it's a good thing I actually don't watch him and instead talk to him to make sure he doesn't do stupid shit like that, but yet he did. Yet he did, so this guy is like full of shit. Imagine being this much of a parasocial, addled fanboy. This is like a woman saying, never mind, it was just a slap in the heat of the moment. I'm not even bruised about her husband. If this was Boogie, Hassan, DSP, or any other lolcow, I guarantee you would be laughing at them. I don't follow them, so no, I wouldn't be. I find them incredibly depressing individuals. Well, given the fact that all of these people, Boogie, Hassan, DSP, and Mutahar, share very similar traits, you should probably find Mutahar to be an incredibly depressing individual as well. This guy, like I said, either Mutahar lied to him, which I doubt now, or he's an enabler. And if he's an enabler, then all of these people are fucking pathetic, in my opinion. I seriously thought this was a joke or something. This shit is dumb, LMAO. You and me both. Turns out it's a slow news cycle. I think that criticizing somebody for feigning their credibility and authority, and then utilizing that credibility and authority to call people out for being disingenuous, for being liars, for being misinformed, and for faking their credentials, and then not holding yourself to account is pathetic and should absolutely be called out in any sphere where your job is to commentate on media. Because people watch people like me. Just to put myself on a pedestal real quick. People watch people like Mutahar. People watch people like Hassan to get their takes, to get their information from. Now, not all of these people are going to be the most honest. You know, Mutahar, Hassan, blah, 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 blah. But people have a good faith assumption that they will be honest, that they will tell you the truth. How is anyone supposed to expect any sort of, like, trust from you or honesty from you if you've been lying about how important you are and how capable you are for the last 10 years? Of course it's a big deal. Imagine if an incredibly popular gym guy has been, like, saying that he's been all natural, given information about how to eat, given information about how to exercise so that they can get these insane gains just like him, and it turns out the entire time he wasn't natural and he was doing steroids. Of course you're going to be incredibly offended and you probably wouldn't trust the guy again, because as it turns out, all of the expertise and advice that he's been given for the last 10 years has been based on a fucking lie, has been based on him actually taking shortcuts and cheating his way through life. He was never natural. He's been abusing steroids. So how could you ever take anything he says seriously if the reason why he made that progress isn't because of the advice he's been given, but because of the steroids? Of course people are going to be upset at this, and rightfully they should be. In a sphere where people look at other individuals to give them information in a truthful, non-embellished fashion. But that's not what Mutahar is, and I feel like that's all there is to say on the matter. Mutahar is a pathetic, cowardly liar, and his response, it was done perfectly to placate the public. The mass public, right? The people who think that I'm racist for my thumbnail and that my criticism is based on racism are going to believe just that. They're going to think that people are just hate mobbing him for no reason. That's what this response will appeal to, and those people are going to uncritically support him and not actually engage with any of the criticisms that people like me, that people like Nicandros, that people like Harmful Opinions have actually levied him. Because they don't care to. Because they like being lied to.